Welcome to Descriptive Statistics. I am hoping that this lecture will serve as a welcome and also help explain to you the syllabus and some of the kind of unique aspects of the course. So we're going to go through the syllabus first, and then I'll walk you through Canvas, two important things. For the sake of self-preservation, you should listen to this and and read through the syllabus in detail because we do have a syllabus quiz coming up. It will be open syllabus though, so you can use whatever you want. That's just going to have a bunch of information that I want to make sure that I get across to you in it. So let's get started. I'm not going to read through all of the syllabus. You can read through it yourself. There are some required portions that I really don't need to, but your statistics information is all in here. I've tried to include as much information in the syllabus as possible. So my instructor information, course summary, you can do that on your own. You can read that. What I primarily want to get across today is the information in the class format section, because this class is going to be different than, I would say, probably most of the classes you've taken, and it might even be different than all of them that you've ever taken. So the course that we have now is based on the notion that I want you to learn. I don't want you just to skate through. I don't want you to be forced to take exams before you're prepared for them. I don't want you to be quizzed or tested on something that you don't understand and then just have the class move on without you getting that information. So this class is based completely around that idea. And because of that, it's going to be largely at your pace, as I say here. You are going to be able to decide when you listen to lectures. Lectures are primarily going to be out of class. You're going to be able to decide when you take exams on certain topics. You're going to be allowed to retake exams you don't pass, just as a couple examples. And this is all with the goal of making sure you learn, not just that you just keep pushing through information you might not get. So here are some highlights of how we are going to be changing this course, or it's going to be different than typical. So first of all, this course is called what is oftentimes referred to as flipped. In fact, it's almost like a hybrid course, meaning that the instruction is primarily going to come not from lectures in class, but lectures that you will watch and listen to outside of class. So when we're going over something like correlation, I'm first going to give you a video that is on Canvas through YouTube for you to watch. And then you will come to class with questions, and I will have in-class activities and material for you to go through. So let's just say for correlation, you watch the lecture on correlation on Canvas. Then you come to class, have a couple questions about that information. I'll give you an example correlation problem. You'll work through it, and if you have any issues, I can check with you along the way to see what you might have done wrong or what you might need help with. And then we'll move on from there. So it's flipped in that way. Instead of doing assignments and work outside of class, we're primarily going to be doing that in class. Okay, bullet point number 2. Oops, excuse me. This course, as I said previously, doesn't even progress the way courses typically do. So instead of going to class and listening to a lecture and moving on, here you will do watch the lecture outside of class, come to class and do the work, and then choose when you are ready to take an exam. So about every other Tuesday, we're going to have, or excuse me, every other Thursday, we're going to have an exam period, which you can take a test in. If you're not ready for it, though, I don't want to necessarily push you through it, although there is no penalty for taking a test even if you're not ready for it, because you'll be able to retake it. So, if you do pass it, though, you'll be able to move on to the next material. And we'll talk about how that works, especially when we look at Canvas a bit more. Your progression through the course will be based on Canvas's modules. So I'm going to give you some more information. It says, please view the welcome video you currently are viewing. So let's look at it. So Canvas, many of you have probably already used before. If not, welcome-ish. So I am logged in to a student view. It's the only way I can view it. So mine's going to look a little different than yours, but it should work for what we need to do. So the home page will have announcements, information on the calendar. It's typically where people will get to first. Your assignments tab is going to have all of the assignments. These are assignments with due dates in them. These are assignments that don't, meaning all of these assignments you can choose when to turn in or when to do. You can look at your grades on this tab. You'll have all of your grades there and calculate an estimated grade for you. And we'll have pages. And what pages are where you will find the lectures that are on Canvas through YouTube. So for example, the lecture on descriptive statistics is here. And all you have to do is click and it will eventually start playing it. So that is where you will primarily get your information, your lectures from. So you watch these, some of them are longer than others, and then you will hopefully be taking notes, working through some problems, come to class with questions you have. So all the pages will have lectures like that. There's a lecture for each of these, and some of them are, I promise, going to be shorter than that one. Next up is files. I don't have all the files up here yet, but you will see that there are going to be some practice problems that work in detail through some of the things, but we'll talk more about that later. And the lectures will be in files also, the PDFs of it. Then the syllabus, that's not fully ready yet because we're going through the syllabus yet, but it has some dates that things are due, and you will also be able to download a hard copy of the syllabus there. Quizzes. We only have one quiz you're taking online this semester. It's a syllabus quiz due January 17th at 11 a.m. It's 10 questions, open syllabus. Go ahead and do that when you feel ready. And last and most importantly is modules. So Canvas is, excuse me, going to have you work through the modules in order. So you first will hopefully click on welcome as you have. You'll see this video, watch it, everything will be good. Then you'll be ready for the syllabus quiz. Once you've done the syllabus quiz, you'll be able to move on to the basic math review. This is a lecture that just goes over some of the basics that you will need to know through the semester. For example, things even as basic as how to deal with positive and negative numbers, how to do fraction problems, decimals, etc. So it serves as a bit of a review in case you need it. Some people might not ever need this, some people will. We're going to do a self-test in class, and that should inform you how much you need to do this. Then, once you're done there, move on to descriptive statistics, the lecture that I showed you earlier. And then, what's next? The exam. So what this means, notice there's no due date for the exam. There's no day that you have to take an exam. Instead, let's go back to the syllabus and look at this. The first exam you will be able to take on January 26th, early in. We'll only have 4 class periods and really only 3 in class prior to that. If you are prepared, you feel prepared, you've worked through the descriptive statistics lecture, you've come to class, you've given me an opportunity to answer questions for you, you could be ready to take the exam there. If you take the exam and you pass it, and for this class 85% is passing, you get 85% or more, then you'll be able to move on from descriptive statistics and the exam onto normal curve, where there will be a lecture posted in not too long. However, if you do not pass the exam, you will be able to retake the exam then, on February 9th. There are only a total of 5 exams that you have to take this semester. Those are the ANOVA exam, the correlation and regression exam, t-test, chi-square, and descriptive statistics exam. 5 exams. And look, each of these red ones is an exam day. So we actually have 9 exam days scheduled, meaning that you can fail an exam up to 4 times and still end up with 100% on the exam. Why is that? because I don't care how well you do on any given exam. I want you to learn. And if you're able to progress through, it's showing you're learning. So you get a bunch of freebies if you need them. Some people also will actually be done with exams by March 28th. If you get through these first 5, you pass all of them, then you won't even need to come to class on the last 4 exam days. You'll basically be done with the semester other than SPSS information. So that's how the course is going to progress. And you will see that right now, because you haven't viewed the chi-square lecture yet, you can't even click on chi-square. Because you haven't completed chi-square's module, you aren't able to go on the t-test, and etc., etc. And SPSS you can click on. We'll talk about that later. But this is the idea of the semester, that in order to get 100% in the exam portion of the test, you have to make it through 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 lectures. What happens if you don't? Well, let's go back and look at the syllabus now that we've given an overview of Canvas. So your exam grade, and your exams grade is 60% of your overall test, your overall grade in this class. So 60% of your grade is dependent upon taking the exams and working your way through it. If you pass only descriptive statistics, so only that first lecture that you will watch, well, I guess the first full lecture that you watch, if you pass the information on that but are unable to pass through the rest of the semester any of the additional exams, then you will earn 60% in that exam grade. If you pass chi-square and descriptive statistics, 70%. T-test and previous, 80, etc., etc. So if you pass these 5 tests, you will get 100% on the 60%. And it wouldn't matter, let's say because you have to have an 85% or greater on the exams to make it through. If you get an 85% on all 5 of these, you still get 100% on this portion. Because I think if you get 85% on them, it shows you have a good enough understanding for me. Yes, and as I previously hinted at, because there are 9 exams, that means that you will be able to fail up to the first 4 of them and still earn 100%. Now, this also means, practically speaking, that your grades on the chi-square exam, I'm going to put a grade there after you've taken it. So you take your chi-square exam on a Thursday. I will put up a grade on here. If it is 85 or greater, that means you will be able to go on. And by 85, it'll say 8.5, because that's 85% of 10. If you get an 8.5 or greater on your exam, you'll be able to move on to the next one in the module. If it is below, you'll have to retake it. And that's okay. Again, it can happen 4 times and you can still get 100% in the class. So what this means is that these grades don't really matter, because remember, if you get an 85% on all of these, you still get an A. And that's where the exam's final grade will come in. So this exam's final grade will be one of these grades. If you pass descriptives, 60%. There'll be a 6 here. And that is the important one. So this is the key one at the end of the semester. You don't have to worry about the grades. If this is a 92, 87, etc., it's still, this is the grade that matters for your overall grade. This might be confusing. Like I said, this course is a little different. We'll talk about it more in class. Please bring questions. All right. In addition to the kind of odd way the course is set up, but I hope you will enjoy it by the time the semester is over, we will have 3 different course formats for the courses throughout the semester. We're going to have exams, in-class activities, and SPSS days. That is all we are going to have. And as I say, you can see the syllabus calendar on the last page for when the specific days occur. Well, let's go to it. So on the days that are not highlighted, white days, you'll see that it's just in-class activities. You'll see that all of the orange days, we're going to be meeting in the first floor computer lab in Comer to learn how to use the statistical program SPSS. And then every other Thursday, we're going to have the opportunity to take an exam. So those are the only 3 types of class days we have. And because these are kind of unique, you're going to want to keep up with the schedule more than you might in other classes. If you don't come to class on an SPSS day, for example, you're going to need to figure that information out on your own. We're only going through this information one time each. If you come to an exam day unprepared to take an exam, then there's not a whole lot of point to you being there. So please keep up with which days are which. So let's get in a little bit more detail. So for the exams, you're not required to take an exam, but you are able to, depending on where you are. So yes, as some of you might have figured out already, this means that sometimes you might be taking one exam and your friend might be taking another one, and a third friend might even be taking a different exam. It's all about where you are in the semester. So if you're really highly motivated and you want to try to get stuff done early in the semester, go for it. That's good. I hope that we have a decent amount of students who are wanting to really push forward with this. Now, you do need an 85 or more on the exam to move on, again, because I want you to learn, and getting an 85 or more would show me you're learning. I don't want people squeaking by with 60% just to get a D in the class. I want you to learn. Whatever it is you're doing, even if you only learn descriptive statistics, you'll be learning that at 85% or greater. All right, in-class activities. Most Tuesdays we'll be meeting in class, working through problems. And how I see this going is that you guys will come to class. I will take questions from you all or ask what people have questions about. I'll just write up what they are on the board, and then I'll work through them in order. So let's say one day somebody has a question about standard deviation, while another person has a question about ANOVA. We'll probably work out standard deviation first and then go on to ANOVA. And then I will also have every class period you can come in, and I'll have folders that will have practice problems for each of the types of problems you're working through. You can pick up what you want, work through the problem, see how you did, and then I'll just go around class helping people out when they have questions. Okay, and then the third type, SPSS days. This is going to be a little bit more formal than the rest of them, simply because we have to reserve the computer lab, so you need to be there on time, ready to go, and we'll work through that. SPSS, a lot of people think it's kind of intimidating. It's really not that bad. It's kind of a glorified version of Excel, and it's even easier to use than Excel, honestly. Okay, a couple more things before we're done. Course communication. This is my biggest pet peeve, so please pay attention here. You can only email me through glongo@montevallo.edu. I do not get emails through Forum or through Canvas. So do not email me at this address. Do not email me through Canvas. Only that one. If you send it to a different email address, it is gone forever. So don't do it. Okay. Attendance. Because you're in charge of this class and how much you do, at what pace, it is up to you to attend. You do not have to attend. I'm not going to be taking attendance, but it is important that you come. And what I can already see some students doing this semester is saying, well, I don't need to come early on, so I'll just wait until the end of the semester. I really wouldn't do that because, remember, you got to get 85s on exams to pass them. So I would hope that you would start early on. Grades. The grade total is in this way. Assignments account for 15% of your grade. SPSS is 25%, and exams 60%. We are doing SPSS 1 out of every 4 days, so 25% seems reasonable. Exams are 60%. It's the most important parts of the class, and then assignments are going to be additional information you need to know. So let's talk about assignments first. Assignments are going to be a variety of different things, but they will be primarily doing things by hand, working through problems like that. Now, all of your assignments need to be turned in online through Canvas. This is the best way that I can tell and you can tell, and we can be in agreement about when you've turned something in online. So, if you come to me at the end of the semester and say, oh, I really turned in this problem, we can look at Canvas and see. So there should be no disputes. Because you can view Canvas, there is no reason for us to ever have a misunderstanding. All right, now how you will upload these, if you are doing them, if it's just a written response, then you're fine. You can just upload it as a Word document or something like that. But if it is a problem set where you're doing things by hand, you can figure out a way to get it up there. But the two most common ways are for people to just scan it if they have access to one, or really, I'm okay if you take a picture of it. Just take your phone out or whatever, take a picture of the assignment, then email it to yourself and upload it that way. Now, regardless of how you upload it, as I say here, it is your responsibility to make sure that all of the assignment is on there. So if you scan something and half of it is cut off, it's not my fault. So you need to make sure when you submit something, view it, make sure 100% is on there. If you don't have half of your correlation problem on your upload, then that's probably going to be at least half off. So please, please make sure you do that. Also, if it is blurry or something like that, I reserve the right to determine if something is legible. If you turn in something that is not, then that's not good. You're going to have to redo that. Okay, now all of the problems are going to be on Canvas. As I said, just to emphasize again, do not bring me anything by hand. It's going to be through Canvas. All right, SPSS. Every other Tuesday, we're going to meet to go through SPSS. I'm going to just demonstrate for you how to do certain things on the computer and what will be required of you. You can take notes, and then you'll just have to work through it, and then there will be an assignment due. And each of the assignments is due at the beginning of the next SPSS session. So for example, on January 24th, we're going to do Introduction to SPSS. The next time we meet in Canvas, an assignment for Introduction to SPSS is due. Descriptive statistics, due the next time we're in the computer lab, and et cetera, throughout the semester. This is because this information is going to build to this, which will build to that, etc. And we will be doing some things in Canvas that we won't be doing by hand. In Canvas, please excuse me. In SPSS, we won't be doing by hand. So important for you to come on those days. Anything else there? I don't think so. And then we'll have a project. We'll talk about that later in the semester. You'll do some work in SPSS and then do hand calculations on the same data set. But we'll get to that later. And then exams. As we've already talked about, you can see what was discussed above. Your hand calculations, I haven't previously said this before, but you are going to be able to use calculators on every exam. You may not use a phone calculator, though, so you will need to go out and get a calculator. It can be a pretty basic calculator. The most advanced things it needs to do are square and square root. Other than that, just the typical addition, subtraction, and the like, and you will be fine. And that is it for exams. I think we've covered it fairly well. Classroom expectations, please read through electronic device policy. If things start getting annoying, this is another pet peeve of mine, you will be asked to put it away, and if it happens again, I'll just ask you to leave the class. Also, as I said previously, you have to have a calculator, or should have a calculator every day. PowerPoints of the lectures we go through are going to be in Canvas under the Files tab. So when I'm going through the lecture for descriptive statistics on the YouTube video, you will be able to follow along through the PowerPoint slides if you so desire. Late work, there's not a whole lot of days that things are actually due, but for the SPSS assignments, I'll take 25% off per day. This is pretty generous, and any kind of makeups that you need to do, please come and talk to me ahead of time. If you're an athlete or you have an excused absence, you need to talk to me prior to that. Unless, of course, if something serious is happening and you can't get a hold of me, we'll take care of that later. Academic dishonesty, just don't do anything stupid. You should already know most of this stuff. If you ever have questions about plagiarism or anything like that, please let me know. The ADA statement, please let me know if there's anything that I can or should do to help out with any type of disability, or I can direct you in the right way. I don't need to know, and actually you don't have to tell me what the disability is, but I'm willing to hear anybody out on anything, and we can work things out. In particular, with this being such a visual class, all math classes really are very visual. If there are any issues, please let me know. And then disclaimer, if there are days that change, if we need to push things around, things can change on here, but I will let you guys know, and I'll send out emails about that. All right, so I think that's a pretty good overview. I will fully understand if you do not have this completely down by now, but hopefully this has helped you out a bit to understand what the course is going to be like. If you have any questions, please feel free to bring it to me anytime. Send me an email, whatever works for you. All right, I'm looking forward to a great semester.